Hey everyone, welcome to another YouTube painting process video. It's been a while since the last one because I've been working on a webtoon that I've just recently released. I'll be linking all of the ways you can read it down in this description below, and I hope you check it out and feel free to like and subscribe them as well. Now then, I want to get into the topic at hand, which is the amount of time artists will draw per day. Now, this is going to be something that will be disputed, and that's because everybody has their own workflows and their own industries of where they're working at. So don't take this as gospel. It's going to be varied between artists, and everybody will be giving you different answers. In my own experience as a freelance illustrator, a lot of times there's going to be a lot of downtime. And what I mean by this is not because I'm not getting work. It's more so that most of the time, because any illustration gig you get requires research, that there's going to be a lot of time where I'll be spending not on the actual painting and drawing part of it, but just to research and understand what I'm going into. This is seldom talked about when it comes to art. If you work in a studio, a lot of times you are directed to what you want to draw, and you have your art directors and whatever, just whoever is working at the studio to bring you the references and research right off the bat. In that case, if you're in a studio, you're more likely going to be drawing it consecutively for many hours, because you're going to be given the material that you need to draw, and it's ultimately just going to be a job. However, being a freelancer means that you're going to be doing everything yourself, or maybe if you're working in a small studio, you might have other partners working with you. But otherwise, there's a lot of things that goes into a piece of artwork before you even start painting. So even if you check out all my YouTube videos or my tutorials, you might see me tell you exactly how much time it took to paint, but it could take possibly even days of research before I even put the pen on the paper. This could also go into the sketching phase of thumbnails and such. You don't want to go into a painting that will waste your time at the end of it because you didn't have the right preparations. And preparation is the key word here. You want to make sure that you know exactly what you're going into, and the painting part, in my opinion, is actually the easiest part at the end of the road. If you are just mindlessly drawing without preparation, what can happen is that you will end up making the same mistakes that your habits usually give you. And while there is always going to be the element of having your own style where there's similarities between your work, you also don't want to fall into a trap where you are drawing stuff that isn't improving your work, and possibly even not getting the right stuff for your job description. If you are a beginner, it might be hard to grasp, but right when you start hitting intermediate or more advanced work, that's when you realize it's not really about the actual painting and drawing. You want to know what you are going to be drawing to the T, and we're talking about references, we're talking about just understanding the story of something. Just everything needs to be prepared. This is also one of my pet peeves when it comes to perhaps some clients who might not know any better, because in a lot of cases, in normal work fields, in normie stuff, you're going to be judged on a per hour basis. So what's going to happen is, if you aren't seemingly putting all the hours in your painting process, Some clients might see that as insulting or you're just being lazy, but in actuality, there is a lot when it comes to really grasping the material that you're working with. I'll give you an example. So if you are ever working into film or even video game stories of any kind, that sort of thing, most likely you're not going to be just drawing the characters outright. You're going to have to read words on pieces of paper, perhaps a lot of them, just so that you can even start drawing the designs of a character. But if you've ever done concept art, you realize that, hey, perhaps this artist can do these character rotations in 30 minutes, but if they want to make a character fitting for a franchise, it might take 30 minutes to draw it, but it would probably take much longer just to be able to start off and know what to draw. And that's something that you would have to play around with, especially as you get more experienced. You'll realize that there's a lot more to just drawing. With the drawing part, you have to really know what you're drawing, and if you know what you're drawing, then 90% of the battle is done already. Very oftentimes when I go into a piece now, I would have a general idea, if not a very specific idea, of the step-by-step I would need to achieve the effect that I want, because I am very used to my work. Now, that's not to say I wouldn't have trouble changing colors and that sort of thing. There's always going to be the element of making decisions on the fly. But all in all, if I don't have a clear game plan of what I want to achieve, then it only makes the job harder. So if you want to take something away from this video's lecture, it goes back to the old saying of how much you want to charge the clients that might be coming and contacting you for work. You can't just charge based on the actual painting. You have to really think about how much time it will take to absorb the material, and sometimes even doing sketches to really grasp the characters that you're drawing or the compositions. It's not just the actual final rendering, and that's a mistake that a lot of people make when it comes to workload. And what clients could possibly do is, if they're really insidious, they will ignore the research time and not pay you for it. But in actuality, it is very, very important to do so. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this talk. I will opt to not have music from now on because I figured people watching might want to just put their own soundtracks, and also because I realized some of my videos are starting to be removed because I just like putting the music in before, but this time around, from now on, I'm just going to keep it silent and let you play whatever music you want. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful. Thank you for watching. Hope you check out my webtoon comic series as well, and I'll see you next time.